Hello, welcome to Homeopathic Services. My name is Pierre Fontaine. I've been a professional homeopath for about 25 years. Every Tuesday on this page, I talk about weight loss. And I talk about weight loss every Tuesday at 2 p.m. on this page because I believe I figured a few things out that can raise the odds, those 95% odds that people supposedly fail in with their weight loss. I think we can raise that quite a bit by understanding a few aspects of what weight loss is and how to go about it in order to be successful. In order to be successful, we need to have the right information, or at least, if not the right information, better information than what is given to us, given once again that 95% of weight loss people who try to lose weight don't succeed in the long term, there is clearly a very big problem. Now, I've been a homeopath for 25 years, and one might ask, well, what does homeopathy have anything to do with weight loss? It has some aspect. We can homeopathy can facilitate weight loss, especially when we go above the 50-pound overweight. It can definitely do that, but that is not so much the subject of this program. The subject of this program is not so much about homeopathy, but rather to share information that I believe will make you very successful in your weight loss program. So one aspect, the kernel of what I figured through 25 years of listening to people, not only trying to lose weight, but I also specialize in autism. And what happened, the information I was given regarding autism, since most children are on diet, I had to look into what these diets mean. What do they do? And how do they act upon the body? And doing quite a bit of research about microbiology, how food is absorbed, physiology, intestinal physiology, and so on, I came to an understanding, discovering some aspects of weight loss programs that I've never talked about. So it came really almost by accident, and I started to apply what I was discovering to myself. I applied it to myself and was very successful in losing weight. And then after that, talking to people who struggle to lose weight, talking to people and trying to and explaining what it was that I was figuring out, has also brought quite a bit of success. So the kernel, I came in the last year to classify what needs to be done in order to lose weight, and it came down to two different phases: phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 has to do with food, just like any system out there. Phase 1 is food. Phase 2 is exercise. Okay, there's no difference there. Okay, except that first I came to understand what food is and how it is that we eat food, and then in phase 2 what exercise is and how to go about it in order to continue exercising, not so much to lose weight, because phase 1 should be enough, but really to live a healthy lifestyle, which also helps in the food we eat. So it really becomes a self-feeding process. But between phase 1 and phase 2, what I discovered is that we do have a biological food clock. And that what I call biological food clock is overruled. We overruled this biological food clock. We are not aware of it because we overrule it. We overrule because of the way we eat. We eat. So how we eat and when we eat becomes very, very important. Um, so how we eat is very simple. We have basically three meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and in between there are snacks. Nowadays, they didn't used to be so much. Although snacks can also be taken, for example, if field workers would eat way back then would eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but they would break at 10 o'clock to eat, okay, because the work was very physical, and they would break at 4 o'clock as well to eat. In school in France, for example, there is a break for goûter, it's called, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's essentially a goûter is just a different word for a snack, which is mayhem in the French schools. So those snacks, you see, were still valid. We say, well, we shouldn't snack. Well, that is still valid. It goes way back, okay? But that's when work was very physical. I sit in this chair quite a good part of the day, and so I don't need snacks. Most of us need to figure out what a biological food clock is. Every single time I give the example that my biological food clock is 10:30 in the morning and 7 o'clock at night. If I eat at the I feel satiated, and as such, I can spend the day working in what I do best, which is listening to my client, my patients, and trying to find a very good remedy that will heal whatever the complaints are. And sometimes it is part of the main complaint is um, um, weight. I mean, too much weight and how to lose weight. Sometimes it is part of the complaint. Most of the time, I do take care of a whole slew of other things, most particularly autism and pandas. So that said, the way we eat is, again, a cultural matter largely. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's no rule that we should eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's a social aspect to this cultural aspect, and that is when we eat at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 12:30, 1 o'clock. If I eat at that time, I'm going to spend the entire afternoon. I'm gonna struggle to stay awake. One, two, I'm going to need some coffee, which I don't really usually drink. Yeah, I'm going to be drowsy. I'm not going to be so effective. I'm not going to be sharp. And that is because I ate outside of my biological food clock. So if anyone out there is experiencing these symptoms, that is probably the reason why. Okay. You may think it has something to do with vitamins and whatever not. It is not. It is a biological food clock. If you did field work all day long, strenuous field work, then maybe you would need to eat. For example, when I train, and I started training now, I'm a runner. When I train, I have something to eat or drink at 3 p.m. Okay, that I have to have. I have to have in order to continue the day. So either liquid, but there is some calories. I do take some calories at that time. It depends now how much I train. If I go out for a 5K, for example, I'm not going to need so much, although now I've become quite clean. I don't need to replenish the calories. We have plenty of calories to burn. The average American has 300,000 calories to burn. So we can afford to lose weight. If we run a 5K, we don't need to hit the ice cream counter at the supermarket or the deli or wherever it is that you get your ice cream because you can, quote, afford it. If you run a 5K, let's say 25 minutes, 30 minutes, let's put it half an hour, you don't need to replenish that. That's fine. Less than an hour does not need to be, quote, replenished. Quote, you can afford it. It's not even a matter of replenishing. It's a matter of affording it. So under an hour of consistent exercise does not need to be replenished. Another aspect about the biological food clock that we need to acknowledge, and regarding food, is that we eat not only out of habit, that is, we all come down the office at 12:30, but we also eat from an addiction point of view. I call it. It's a little strong of a word, but really, what it is, that what we do is we want that food now. We want the food now, and when we get hungry to the point of being angry, then we are most likely we will eat out of a biological food clock. And what all that is going to happen is we're going to satisfy a physical demand, okay? We're going to satisfy a physical demand. That is food, as it is the first thing we do when we are born and the last thing we're going to do before we die. Food is a habit. It is a drug in a sense. We are hooked on food. And when we do this, when we eat, in order to prevent being angry, we are eating out of biological food clock, and we are eating according to a withdrawal effect, just like a drug. So the other piece of information then that we need to know about is when we lose weight, we need to know the basics of losing weight. What happens when we lose weight? Well, there's an anabolic and catabolic process. When we gain weight, it is anabolic. When we lose weight, it is catabolic. Now the body takes on habits, just like the habit of having to eat. The habit of having to eat without peace is the habit of anabolic. The body wants to gain. The body does not want to go in reverse order, if you will, and does not want to go into catabolic process. Catabolic process is absolutely needed in order to lose weight. And we need to be at peace with that process that at first we are not used to. Since we are not used to it, it is very difficult. When the body does something out of norm, it is difficult. For example, if you start to run in order to lose weight, if you start to lose, if you want to run, if you want to exercise, let's say, and you haven't exercised in the last 10 years, well, you're going to get sore. You're going to get sore. You're going to get tired. You're going to maybe sleep more. You're going to have pains you never knew you could have. You're going to have pain in the bones. You're going to have pain in the heart. You're going to have pain in the knees and the ankles, whatever. The body and your emotional state is going to throw all kinds of things at you. Like, I'm having a heart attack. There's a lot of alarming. You twisted my ankle. I'm going to break a knee. I cannot walk. This and that. All kinds of very, very dire warnings. It's the same with when we hold food. It's the same when we prevent the body from going anabolic, that is wanting to eat food, and letting it go catabolic. That's why we feel if I don't eat, I'm going to pass out. It is highly unlikely that anybody who needs to lose weight is going to pass out. Passing out is a common phenomenon on the New York subway in the morning. One of our passengers is sick. When you hear that on this New York subway train, it is generally that a young girl, let's say in early 20s, just drinking coffee like there's no tomorrow, and she's passed out because she's low on sugar. But when we need to lose weight, she's low on sugar and she's so thin that there's nothing left to burn. But this program is meant for people who are up to 50, 60 pounds at most overweight. When you begin to let yourself understand that your body is going to go catabolic, and that some pain are going to be associated with it, you are going to adapt the adaptation is going to be much easier, you see. So the adaptation to going catabolic, once it is in your mind, becomes a lot easier. If you are not aware of this process, then the only thing that can happen is that you are going to fight. We fight this process. So we want to lose weight. We're going to hold the food, but we want to gain. But we feel hungry, and then we feel we're going to pass out. So therefore, I should eat something, but maybe not so much, so that it's not too many calories. So I do lose weight. You see this is impossible. It is impossible to live this way. So once we have the information, then it becomes, it is simple. It is very, very simple. I have 300,000 calories on me. The average American has 300,000 calories extra stored in fat tissue, ready to be burned. So let's burn it. Let's burn that fat. Let's burn that cash. Let's look at it at cash, and we're going on a shopping spree. All right. So as far as eating, and it's great to understand that eating can be a habit. If it is a habit, when we are hungry, it's going to throw all kinds of things at us. We're going to get angry, and since we don't want to get angry, we're going to eat so that we are not a pain to our co-workers, we are not a pain to our loved ones, and so on and so forth. So we eat, we satisfy the hunger, and no weight loss happens. Or we just go with the flow, and at 12:30 I eat. At 12, let's say at 11:30, 12 o'clock, the gastric juices, because it is a habit, the gastric juices are flowing. At 12:30, you really want to eat. Very often we eat even far too fast, which is a problem. And then you drink a big coffee in order to not fall asleep in the afternoon, so that you can follow the meeting or do whatever it is that you have to do. And if you need to take a drive, please drink that coffee or don't eat. And then at night we do the same thing, and then we sit on the couch in front of the TV. That is not going to help us. So understanding that the body goes catabolic, and how and why we eat are very important. Once we have this information, we can really be in ourselves, be aware of what is happening, be a witness of what is happening, and we can say, okay, we can be at peace with it. And when the body starts banging, I am hungry, we can say, okay, my body now in the next few minutes is going to go catabolic. And at first, and particularly since I just started this system, I'm listening to this homeopath. He says it's going to happen. Let it happen. It's going to be uncomfortable a little bit, but believe me, it's a whole lot less uncomfortable that this tug of war between emotions and physical need and, and wanting to look, but then having all these feelings come up and trying to push them down and let some of them rise and bypass. It is so much more easier to know anabolic, catabolic, and biological food clock. Find your biological food clock, and biological food clock is non-prejudicial. Non-prejudicial means maybe you need to eat a huge meal at 7 o'clock at night. That's it. That's your clock. It's a huge meal, 7 o'clock at night, and you feel great afterward. Okay. And let's say you digest all night, and in the morning you feel like $1,000,000. Instead of rationing your food and then having to eat in the morning because that's what everybody says. Maybe you need a huge meal at night. Maybe you need every 2 hours maybe you need to eat a little something every 2 hours. Maybe you are like me, which is 10:30 and 7 p.m. So what I want people to figure out are they by the natural biological food clock that helps you live your life without these conflicting emotion, conflicting mental states, conflicting physical needs. Live your life freely. Find your biological food clock. Once you do that, trust me, you're going to scare yourself on how easy and how efficient it will be to lose weight. That there is no doubt about. Only then should one introduce exercise. And exercise is there is exercising, okay, and there is also training. And then what do you want to do with your exercise? What kind of satisfaction do you want to get out of the exercise? If we exercise only to lose weight, I don't think that is the best best reason to exercise. Okay, I really don't think so. I think exercise should have a how to say a bigger purpose. That's what I think, because because exercising is not necessarily easy. It does take time. Um, and so if it is done for a larger purpose, it becomes a lot easier. Our person, our ego, if you will, it is far easier to deal with that. And our ego is more, how to say, two size. 2TO, okay, not two size or not TWO. It is more at a level where we can meet ourselves, in other words, on that level, and that becomes very important. So that's the kernel of the whole program. The kernel of the whole program is we have a biological food clock that we need to know, we need to understand. We need to understand what we want to eat, what the nourishment our body requires, understanding the anabolic, catabolic process that goes on in the body. If we let ourselves go catabolic, if we allow our body to reverse this machine from going ever growing to going smaller and breaking down tissue, the process of breaking down tissue is an uncomfortable one. If we allow this process, once we know that this is what needs to happen, once we know, then it becomes much easier. And how it is that we lose weight. When we lose weight, where does it go? That was the original question I asked back last year in October. When we lose weight, where does it go? And there's actually, it's a question that is interesting in the sense that very few people know the answer. So the answer is that we breathe it out. 85% of the weight we lose, we breathe out by way of CO2. And 15% is water, H2O. 85% of the weight we lose is CO2. So very simply, the food we eat has absorbed CO2 by way of photosynthesis with the help of the sun. We eat it. It is transformed. We eat it in the form of sugar, that is a plant, and then it is stored in us in the form of fat. And so when we lose it, it just goes back to what it was originally, which is CO2 and water. Very simply, very simply. So you see, once again, the information is absolutely crucial. I believe this makes losing weight, the process of losing weight, much easier. It is much, much, much easier to be able to be successful with our weight loss once we have this information. Without this information, we don't know what is happening. And when we don't know what is happening, then we have these conflicts, these mental conflicts, these emotional conflicts, and these physical conflicts that make it absolutely counterproductive to the task of weight loss. Okay, thank you very much for listening. A little shorter program today. Very happy to be doing this every Tuesday. Thank you. See you again. See you next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye.